We did it. We are selling ammo. NazoAmmo.com. We teamed up. Keystone Munitions, quality, premium product. We're selling it online. What do? You go to NazoAmmo.com. First thing that pops up, what's this? It's an email list. What's the email list do? It's going to give you access to promo codes. It's going to give you access to events, T-shirts, apparel, everything we're doing. Get on that email list. You want 45? 45's not on the website, but then it's coming in. You're ahead of the curve. You're ahead of the guy who's just finding out about it. You're a part of the family. Very fast and furious how we do everything around here. Nazo Ammo. We are moving Keystone Munitions. Premium products. We're doing it. You want to pick up? You don't want to have it sent? You're Carl. You live down the road? Pick up Nazo at the promo code at the end. Now you're picking up ammo here. We're doing it, man. We are doing it. Nazo Ammo. www.nazoammo.com. Small town, big ammo.
Cruz Combat is a proud sponsor of the Combat Jiu-Jitsu 2020 Lightweight World Championships. Our custom high-end performance apparel is worn by combat athletes around the world. With performance pieces designed to last a lifetime, our graphics never fade, crack, or peel. Cruz Combat apparel isn't just made for the mat. Our lifestyle line features dozens of unique designs printed on the softest, most durable fabric out there. And we do custom designs, any quantity, big or small. Order your Cruz Combat gear today.
Zach Meslani now making his way to the stage. Meslani in the black and white. 666 expect fireworks, ladies and gentlemen.
Yes. It's Zach from 10th Planet Bethlehem.
10th Planet Bethlehem.
Veritable dream team of killers.
Him and JM
yes,
holding down the fort at 10th Planet Bethlehem.
Great technique. He's
a beast. He's a savage.
Excellent coaches, I have to say. Great guys, JM and Zach.
That's a beautiful.
Great guys, JM and Zach.
Veritable dream team of killers.
He's a beast. He's a savage.
Zach from 10th Planet Bethlehem.
10th Planet Bethlehem. It's 10th Planet Bethlehem. It's a
great technique. It's
10th Planet Bethlehem.
What up, everybody? Zach's Corner Podcast, episode 64. We're getting closer and closer to 69, Mike. It's getting there. I can't wait for the epic numero 69, but this is 64, and we got different things to talk about today. I got the shades back on. These are the exact shades that Bruce Lee wore in The Game of Death. They're not ones that he wore, but they are shades of similarity. So that's why I'm rocking these. But man, dude, I just got the last. I was just telling Mike I got so much work to do. I love it. I used to, want to, drive my car on the opposite side of 22 when I had a lot of work to do back in my old life. But man, I'm just so blessed to be in this position, to be able to just even have a lot of cool work to do, things that I want to work on, collabos that I want to do with people. And, man, it's really cool to be working with, other people in this industry. So, I just, before I got here, just had, a little text convo with a coral belt in jiu-jitsu. I don't know if you guys know any coral belts, but we happen to know one, and his name is none other than the legend John Jacques Machado. And man, dude, it's just back in the day when you look up to someone, sometimes you look up to whatever, like a fake, you look up to like a movie star, maybe back in the day, you're like, man, I want to be like this guy, or you want to be like, I was really big into wrestling, so I always wanted to be like, like Hulk Hogan or something. But like John Jacques Machado is not like just a regular guy. He's like a real life walking legend. Who was that in WWF? Who was the living legend was Larry Zbyszko. That's a great name, yeah. The living legend. And basically that's what John Jacques is. Yeah, we need to have that in the back, yeah, with like diamonds on the back. Yep, the living legend, John Jacques Machado. I can't wait. John Jacques is the man. He's such a nice guy, and he's a jiu-jitsu master, Yoda, basically. I mean, just search him online and look him up so you can see more about John Jacques. We've been posting videos, and he just posted a picture today. He's really excited to do a seminar at the school. He said, and I quote, "You guys are setting," or hold on, let me just pull it up so I don't misquote the man. But he said that You guys are becoming an example of manufacturing champions. And dude, he also called us place House of Champions one time when we were out there. And that just, it's like being a kid and, you look up to someone and then one day you're actually like, rubbing shoulders with the guy, and people are hitting me up from all these different things. And like I said, just trying to collabo with us and stuff. And I just got John Jock on the phone, dude. That's crazy. And he's coming to our school and he knows our guys. He knows all about Grace. JM and me been taking her out there for a while, and all of our other guys have been out there. Jarrell, he's a black belt under us. He's been out there. Renee, obviously you guys know him. Gabe's black belt under us from Tin Planet Miami. Jarrell's out in Santa Barbara. Man, I don't think Thor was there when John Jock was there, but we've taken Grace there multiple times. Shout out to Joey Haas and Eric Medina, the two best friends. No, I'm just kidding. They are best friends, but they are two guys that really, when me and JM were broke in the whole squad and we were traveling out there, they had the LA Jiu-Jitsu Club. It was like a house that I think Joey had, and it had a pool and a bunch of rooms, and they rented it out to just jiu-jitsu people that were traveling out to Cali. I remember, I think the first event that they had there when it first opened, they had Gary Tonin in for a seminar at EBI 3, where Grace was also on the card. And eventually that's how we kind of met up with those guys. We went back to their place, ripping a couple bongs or whatever. I don't know what we were doing, just hanging out, talking jiu-jitsu. And then the next year we come out, we stayed at the jiu-jitsu club, and man, they hooked us up. We paid them, obviously, and they were like, oh, you don't have to pay us, whatever, but we needed to pay them. Eric was so crazy. These guys would like sleep, totally, like they would give us all the beds because they were renting them out, and Eric would sleep out in his garage, in his car, while he was renting us beds. So the struggle was real, but I mean, really it wasn't. We were driving around, Mary Jo, Grace's mom, team mom driving us around in a van. Just, we went to Venice Beach and stuff when Grace was like 13 years old or something. People were like smoking weed out there. I'm like, oh my God, we got to get the hell out of here. Weirdos are hitting us up, trying to sell us CDs. And, it was just a crazy thing, like being out there, thinking back on all this stuff to the time where we were shitting bricks going to John Jock's, figuring we're not going to be let in or whatever. And I think we kind of set the example for 10th Planet schools and guys just trying to go to John Jock's. I mean, I know Eddie, did his training over there, and, he would bring some of his black belts over, like Denny and Master Vic and those guys, Jeremy Fields, 10th Planet Corona, and some of the other guys to help him train. But, they weren't really just letting anyone in. Like I heard, this might be true, but I heard it's like $100 to drop in over at John Jock's. Like if you want to do a drop-in class, it's $100. And that's just to let people know, like, yo, this is legit shit. Like you're doing a drop-in, it's $100. That's it. And you can train, but, you got to be on your P's and Q's. He let us in there. The first story when we went to John Jock's, we pulled up and we were walking into the dojo. We showed up, and shout out to Marcel, who's John Jock's program manager out there. He runs the website, he runs all that stuff out there, I'm pretty sure. And it was really dope because we go in, started talking to him, and he was like, oh, John Jock's not here right now, like, who are you guys? And I think we were there with Denny Prokopos, and Eric and Joey said, like, yeah, meet us over there. And then they didn't show up, so it was super awkward. I was like, where the fuck is Eric and Joey, dude? And I told Marcel, I'm like, I don't know, Eric and Joey were supposed to meet us here. He's like, yeah, figures, they're not here. I was like, great. So we're like, you know what? We don't want to be a burden. We don't want to, shake up, John Jock's school or anything like that, or like, be intruding. So we're just going to take off. Because originally, Marcel told us, like, John Jock really doesn't but he really doesn't like kids. Well, I mean, I guess he didn't like at the time, and I probably still doesn't, and it is dangerous sometimes having small kids training with a bunch of wild adults, especially when there's like blue belts and white belts in the class. Someone could fly off and like hit a kid by accident or something. So Grace was like 12 or 13, and he was like, I don't know. John Jock really doesn't like kids training with the adults. And we're like, okay, you know what? And he was telling us, like, still, fill out the waivers and stuff and hang out. One of you guys could watch class or train a little bit or whatever, but maybe Grace won't. And I remember Marcelo's didn't let Grace in either. So Marcelo, that's on you, dog. But then, so Grace, we started to leave. We're like, you know what? We don't want to causing a confusion or anything like that. We're just going to take off. We'll come back at another time or something like that. And as we're leaving, John Jock was walking in the door. And he caught me and JM on the way out and just put his arms up. And he was like, "Where are you guys going?" And we're like, "Oh, we're we don't have geese or anything like that. Like, we're a bunch of idiots. We're going to leave. We're retarded or whatever." And John Jock was like, "My friends, no, you come in, you train, you stay." And everyone was like, "Oh, shit." Like, he was like, "No, you're here, you're training." And we were like, "Oh, crap, this is going to be crazy." And then, it was like mind blown. We went in there and he taught moves and, then he made a speech. This for all my guys, at the school training that are new, that have never heard these stories. And it's also so the guys that are at the school don't have to hear the stories over and over again. But then when we went in and trained, we did the whole techniques and everything. And then afterwards, we were about to roll and he was like, made a speech. And I can't remember exactly who was all there at the time. I have to go back and look at the pics. But I know me and JM and obviously Grace was there. Tom might have been there, I'm pretty sure. I'll have to look into it. Maybe even Jason or Twerder or however you say his last name. I'll have to look into that. Defunct Jason, who's not around anymore. He quit, but he said, "Oh yeah, that was funny." Jason told me one time. Listen to this one, Mike. The one guy quit, and he was really good too. He was tough, and Jason quit and said that he was a purple belt and he quit because he said he had to get a job in a real life. I was like, dude, everyone has a fucking job. How do you think people pay the goddamn bills? But anyway, so John Jock, he made a speech. He took his guitar. He said to everybody, like, listen, these guys are from 10th Planet. 10th Planet, and he made a little, talked about Eddie Bravo, and he said 10th Planet is, an extension of his family. That's what he said. And, 10th Planet has an interesting style. They don't really do the gi. And, that's just what they want to specialize in. That's fine. He said, so you guys can choose to roll with them with your gi on, or if you want, you can take your gi top off and take your belt off and do some no gi rounds. He's like, they have a different interesting style with the rubber guard and lockdown and all that stuff. And he said that, it's different, a little bit different, but you can see the roots of where it came from. So if you watch John Jock's style and you watch his old moves, a lot of it is with the overhook, a lot of sweeping people, which I really love. I taught that in class last night. And he said, the 10th Planet style is an interesting one. And if you get caught in it, it could be a long day for you, my friend. That's what he said.
That's cool.
Yeah, dude, I was like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't really get, I know people say, I don't really get starstruck. And that's one of the dumbest things that people say. Because no matter what you do, even when you walk around, like even DJs and producers and like rap guys that I see that aren't even really that famous, but famous enough that I know them, it's even just like, starstruck doesn't have to be like you want to go over and like suck the guy's wiener or whatever. It just makes you like, oh, wow, that's him. Like I see him on TV and Instagram a lot and I hear his work. I have respect for the guy. You know what I mean? So like I get a little starstruck. There's nothing wrong with saying that. That's just a guy posturing thing. I never get starstruck. You do. Okay. Like I saw random guys, a DJ Alchemist, and I saw Big Body Bess were playing craps at I forget where, maybe the Bellagio or one of those hotels out there I was staying at. And I come out and I see him there. And obviously my high school buddies that are with me, they have no fucking idea who those guys are. So they're like, all right, yeah, whatever, man. So I didn't want to interrupt them in craps because, there was a typical bunch of people, like couple hot chicks there playing and they're like rolling the dice and everybody, like when, I don't know what, I still have no idea what craps is and how it's played. It's fun. Yeah, 7-Eleven, but it's really cool watching. I just like being a part of it and getting pumped up when other people are winning. And then there's always a guy wearing a cowboy hat.
Yeah,
he was
that's
there,
where the oil tycoons are always at.
Yeah. He's like, "This is my man over here." Then he's got the cowboy hat on another guy.
For
and
good
he's
luck.
Rolling. Yeah. So I saw them and I was like, I looked at them. I was like, that's cool. Like I wait when they were done. They were like walking out. I was like, I was like kind of hanging over there anyways because I was like, oh, I'm gonna go stand over here, And as they were walking out, I was like, yo, what up, Alchemist? You know what I mean? He's like, yo, what up? And gave me the pound. And I didn't say nothing to Big Body. Yeah, he just looked pissed. But, I mean, it was like 2 o'clock in the morning, so I'm sure they were like.
He was gone.
Yeah. I was just like, yo, what up?
Gone.
You know what I mean? They just were, dude, and you know how, like, it's weird. I don't know if what it is with weed nowadays, but a lot of times it smells, but maybe I'm just used to it. Don't smell that bad. Back in the day, weed smelled worse, right? Didn't it?
I think so.
And they still had that old, like, in high school, there's a specific smell that kids would have on their bum hoodies or whatever it was. It
I
was
forgot about all that. Like your hoodie would always stink.
blunt / really strong weed smell. You know what I mean? And that's how those guys smell at all times, which is awesome. So, but yeah, like you see John Jock and you talk to him. It's not like I'm nervous, like but I want to give a good impression. I like the guy. I have respect for him. I think that's the most thing. I have respect for him the most. And yeah, I just want to show him a good time and you know, take care of him and just being respectful to him is just showing like what it means. Like jiu-jitsu, and I was going to bring this up, it's on my list. Jiu-jitsu is young. Like what other sport? Like right now, like it's pretty young. Like in the fact that like it just hasn't been around. Like the way we're doing it now is just, it seems like it's just ever evolving. Like there's been jiu-jitsu for a long time, but like the way it's going now, I mean, this is the way you think of it, like a martial art like this, like the lineage of it, is one of the things that makes it so fucking cool. Like if you're like, yo, I got my black belt in karate, and they're like, oh yeah, cool. A lot of times people don't even know what to ask you, like who do you get it under, and like it don't matter because there's no way to fucking tell. You know what I mean? Like, you're like, all right, I'm a black belt under, you know, this guy. You know, unless it's like Masoyama or like Tiger Showman, you know, and even Tiger Showman, you know, it's super watered down because a lot of the guys getting black belts, they're not a black. You would never get your black belt in jiu-jitsu. Now, there are jiu-jitsu schools probably throwing out black belts too. I'm sure there are. The Gracies were talking about it, but jiu-jitsu's so new that when someone comes in, like let's say a new guy comes in, signs up to school, has no fucking idea what he's signing up for, right? Gets into jiu-jitsu and he looks at it on the wall and he sees, you know, Hickson and John Jock and you know, Eddie Bravo, and then like the next spot would be me and JM, you know, because we started together and we've been ranking guys together and everything. So, you know, when they see that, they're like, okay, that's Zach, that's JM. You know, here's them hanging out with Eddie Bravo. Like that's their, you know, that's who their ranking is under. That's their affiliation. We actually went from blue to black belt under Eddie Bravo. And then, because a lot of people, that's like a contention. Like some people are like, oh, you got your black belt under Eddie? Oh yeah? Well, where'd you train before? I'm like, no, I mean, I fought and I trained at Tiger Showman's and stuff. And I had other training, which a lot of people do before they get into whatever, you know, whatever thing they want to specialize in. But I started and got my blue belt under Eddie Bravo. And then I went all the way to black belt with them. It took a long time. I forget, I don't know, 6-8 years or something like that. I forget how long I was actually like ranked under him. You know, maybe since 2012, and then I don't even remember when I got my black belt. I'm horrible with dates. But, like, you can look, and then you see Eddie Bravo, and then above him is John Jock, you know? And he's a coral belt, which is like the freaking, you know what I mean? That's, like, the highest up, you know? You know, and then there's, like, red belt, you know, and all that, you know, black, red belt. It's all this different stuff, man. It's just cool to look into it that there's actually a lineage that you can trace. You know, it's like you're like, where did you come from? Oh yeah, I'm a black belt under Eddie. Everyone's like, oh shit, this motherfucker must be pretty good. And you're like, yeah, I also train under John Jock. And they're like, damn. Like certain people, they're like, John Jock, I don't know, you know, he's an old guy. Fuck that shit. You know what I mean? I don't care about old guys. But then a lot of people are like, oh shit, like that's John Jock. Like a couple of my other black belt friends, like my friend Omar. He runs Crush Crew Jiu-Jitsu. I think it's in New Jersey at the, or it might be in Pennsylvania, actually. I'm fucking terrible. I should look that up. But he's coming. He's like an old school black belt. And he's like, yo, I'm in that piece. Like a lot of the guys that have been, you know, around because I only kept it open for a little bit, but the real gangster OGs are like, yo, I can't fucking miss John Jock. You know what I mean? Especially like Omar. He hit me up. He's like, yo, dude, thanks for the invite, man. I'm like, hell yeah, dude. You can't miss John Jock Machado, dude. That's going to be freaking huge, dude. And just having him there teaching, I really hope it invigorates, you know, some of my guys who just are kind of like, they're really good at jiu-jitsu, but they're trying to find that path, because I could teach basics too, and it'll be cool for a while, but then eventually, you know, it gets boring. But when John, like, it's just different. Like when John Jock tells you something, like you believe it. Like you know it. You know what I mean? You're like, okay, like I can trust this. He's got the experience. And like, you know, man, there's so many stories. Like it, like he's like the typical, you know, like master, like martial artist. Like when Eddie Bravo was getting ready to go against Royler Gracie the second time, it was like a big match, and he felt like 10th Planet Jiu-Jitsu in itself was riding on that match. Like if he lost that match, or if Royler submitted him, I mean, that's going to put a hurt on the organization, you think, you know? Like, you don't think so, but also people might not want to sign up. They're like, yeah, he got choked out by, you know, so Eddie went out. Have you seen that match? I think so, right? Maybe.
Which one was it?
I'll have to show you the history of 10 Planet just with Eddie, just the two matches between him versus Royler Gracie. The first one was in ADCC where he submitted him by triangle. You know, and it was like no one ever scored a point on Royce Gracie. And then, you know, he was a brown belt under John Jock at the time. So, and that was in Brazil. And then, then years later, maybe 10 years later, he went against Hoyler again at this other thing called Metamoris. And it was like a 30-minute fucking match. And it was epic. And like Hoyler really didn't do shit. You know, I mean, he had like some heavy pressure from half guard, but that was about it. Eddie fucking put it on him. Put him in electric chairs, all the 10 planet moves, almost had him in a truck. He just didn't get to play rubber guard on him, but still, though, I mean, he was all over him. It was crazy. And they were already older at the time. They're already like 40 or whatever, but they needed the rematch. And John Jock was coaching Eddie at it. And it was one of just thinking about it even just gives me like goosebumps. Because like he's not yelling out like, go for the fucking, grab his leg and turn it to the, you know what I mean? He's not coaching how everyone else coaches. He just, you know your game, play it, you know? And one of the things I'm going to get, you know, I even thought about getting it tattooed somewhere on my fingers or something like that or whatever, because I'm just talking about getting my hands and fingers tattooed, but we're definitely going to get it up at the dojo where it just says inch by inch. And you could live that is just pertains to everything. Like you big chunks, it's hard. You can't hit a home run on everything. But he was just yelling out, inch by inch, Eddie, inch by inch, just knowing he's just climbing up. And it's like those motivational things that really like, you know what I mean? Like
Such a simple saying,
yeah,
so
like,
much.
That's just one of them too. Like, so when Eddie went over to start training at John Jock's, he tells a story too. Like he thought he was going to go over because people like at the time, leg locks, he was worried that like, you know, Hoyler might go for leg locks because, you know, you could go for leg locks a little easier when the other person's wearing gi pants because Eddie likes to wear the gi pants to give more friction. You know, you can hold someone's leg in a lockdown easier and all this stuff. And he wears ankle sleeves and everything. So he was worried that Hoyler would hold his pants, which he did, which is bullshit, even though you're allowed to. But still, it's like, come on, dog. You're going to, okay. All right. So then he was worried they was going to put him in leg locks. He thought John Jock was going to like show him some crazy leg lock shit, or he's going to show him some hyper-powered submission or whatever. And when they went over there, they just worked on defense. He's like, no, your offense is good. We're going to work defense. And Eddie was like, he's like, if my defense is so good, you know, and they're doing all these hard rounds where guys are just fresh guys are attacking him and trying to put him, and he's just escaping and being smart. And then all of a sudden it rose his confidence to the point where he was like, okay, well, if I'm so good at not getting submitted and my defense is so good, then I can open up offensively because I'm not worried. You're not going to sub me. You're not going to tap me. You know, it was just stuff like that. It was like, wow, that's sick. You know what I mean? So like I remembered that, and I try to take the exact same approach in coaching Matty Bam Bam, you know? So like, you know, in Thor's situation, he's got a whole different situation going on because he's you know, an adult, and there's leg locks and there's all types of, you know, it's like a wide open game. Bam Bam is still only 12 years old, you know, or 11, you know, he's only a kid. So he can't do half of the moves, but the submissions that are allowed for kids, he is like, I mean, arm bars, and he knows leg locks and shit too. He does bicep slicers and everything, but for the moves that are allowed for kids, he's really good at those submissions. This is regular armbar Kimura, you know what I mean? And so with him, like, you know, I could show him some moves, you know, I could show him some, you know, rubber guard moves, which he goes for go-go platas and stuff too. And I'm always shoring up his rubber guard when I see him, and or when I get to train with him and stuff, and I always have him roll with grace. But the approach that I take with him is to have him roll with grace, because he kills everybody else. Nobody can do shit to Matt, you know? They got to fly him down to Florida to get a match. Everybody else scared of him up here.
Yeah.
So when I put him with Grace, Grace kind of puts the beats on him because she's way bigger than him. You know what I mean? She's 19, you know, she's going to be 19 on Saturday, and which is nuts. And, you know, she weighs like 125 pounds, and Matt's only like 87 or some shit, you know? So she slows him down. So obviously she's going to be, it's like me versus a kid, you know? And, but it's making Matt think more than just traditional jiu-jitsu, because she's not like that. And when she's putting work on him, she lets him figure out how to get out of it. So right now, you know, his dad obviously is Matt's main coach. You know, his dad's a black belt. Shout out to Chino. He's coaching, you know, him and Matt working together all the time. And, you know, but when I get a chance, you know, I'm like in there as like you know, I feel like with Matt and a lot of guys, you know, you know, cross train with me too. I feel like I'm, and girls too, but I feel like I'm like that, you know, let me bring in Zach and JM, or let me bring in the X factor here, because they might have some stuff to offer me that everybody else isn't. They might have a little bit different, you know, and I like that. So with Matt, I know his dad's doing a great job exposing him to different styles. You don't want to get beat by, you don't want to disregard 10 planners so much you get beat by it. That's what guys do in leg locks. So with Matt, a lot of times I work on, small things, like I showed him all the new JT passes and all that, back takes and this and that, but I really work on his defense. I really make sure that when he's there, I'm trying to get him in bad positions because, dude, his offense is already like on steroids. You know what I mean? Like his arm bars and Kimuras for a kid and understanding underhooks and all that. And I know there's more he can improve on, but like, dude, like I don't need to, I'll help his offense, obviously, by giving him work. But for the most part, like for that last match in Florida, and he's rematching the same kid, and I think he won. The match ended with him he had the kid in a triangle mounted. So like, I don't see how he lost that one, even though it was ADCC rules points. But like, I just try to help his defense because then like his confidence would be like, okay, he's usually killing somebody, but what about his defense though? Because there's a lot of guys like that, like Tyson. Remember, if he was murdering you, intimidating you, he'll kill you. It's over. You already lost before the fight even started. But if you withstood the initial barrage of wild bombs and like, not wild, but like hard shots and like the scariness of Tyson, you stood there and he didn't knock you out in round 1 or 2, there's a good chance that you could beat Tyson, and that's how it was. Once people figured out the boogeyman, okay, they were like, he just didn't want to technically box guys, especially later in his career. Like once Lewis took a couple hard shots, and after that, he just jabbed him to death, So that's what I want to have for him. He is the boogeyman as a kid. There's no doubt about it. Like if you're a kid and you're showing up to a tournament, you are hoping Matt is not under your bed. You know what I mean? Because if he is, you're getting Kimura'd hard. You better be ready. Your hand is ready to tap. Your finger's on the trigger. You know what I mean? But then when we finally do get a guy that his size, his weight, and can give him a good match, like the kid from Florida, even though, like I said, I really think Matt won that one, so we'll see in the rematch. And I'm really shout out to the kid for giving him a rematch, and the coaches, because, they're fucking kids. Who cares if they lose? They're 12 years old. But I'm already looking at him like, man, he could be one of the best kids in the game, especially since how he started and how he is. So I'm just going to keep working his defense. I'm going to make it so like you're not going to find him in submissions. Like, but if you do, though, it's totally comfortable because in training, he's got one of the best black belts in the world right now, Grace Gundrum, on his neck and on his legs and going for triangles and shit on him. And, he's not going to have to worry about it. Like, that's what I want to do for him. And that's what John Jock was, going with Eddie. And some of the best escapes that we use now, and not just escapes from submissions. I'm talking about Alcatraz, my best mount escape, or reverse Alcatraz, or whichever one it is. I mess up the names. And then there's like the John Jock triangle escape, you know what I mean? That's the John Jock escape. Like, oh shit, like that's, and bro, I'd been doing jiu-jitsu for a long time and training grappling, and I'd never seen some of this shit. I'm like, how is he doing it? Like, it's just techniques and minuscule shit that really makes the difference. So I'm hoping he really invigorates the squad, if you will, to get back to the basics and get back to that real jiu-jitsu. And, going upside down, and Lachlan Giles and Gary Tonin and Gordon Ryan, they're all great. And they're the man, and I love those guys. But, I mean, I'm trying to learn from the fucking mouth of the someone who was there when, like, jiu-jitsu was created, basically. Not created, but, like, really one of the second-generation jiu-jitsu, which is, he knows more shit. He forgot more shit than people know, is what I wanted to say. So, anyways, that's my thing on that. That's freaking sick. But how about what's up with this? Just a mini A1 model.
The therapeutic perspectives. The girl who comes down, she just brought it and was like, "Hey," she's like, "You ever see these?" And I was like, "No." She said they're like little things that I guess kids collect. Like they're like hard to come by. These like little.
Wow. I like it.
Yeah, I didn't realize there was like a thing going on where it's miniature condiment bottles that are hard to find and people collect. So she was like, I thought you would like it.
People collect anything. I'm really excited to.
Bizarre though, isn't it?
It is. You never know. That's why you can't tell what's going to be a trend. You have no idea what people are going to like. All of a sudden, remember when I was a kid, everybody was collecting the mini football helmets.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
I got them somewhere. They're around somewhere, and you could like take the little white piece off and like connect it back in. Yeah. I just remember every time I go up, I put 50 cents in. My mom would give me 50 cents. I'd put it in the thing and turn it, and I'd get the fucking Jets.
I'd always get the Dallas Cowboys.
Yeah, I'm like, dude, the Jets, come on. I could never find the Bills or the Eagles, so I ordered them both online, so I had the whole set.
Do you remember when that was a thing to like get shit out of those like twist turn bubble things?
That, and I used to order stuff all the time. I used to just order shit in the mail. Like, so I was watching one of the days when I had a migraine. I was watching this series on A&E. I love old school wrestling. I know you do too. You got freaking Ultimate Warrior on your arm, and a lot of guys do. We got the Bret the Hitman Hart stuff coming from Super BJJ. That's pretty cool. Super BJJ is probably gonna be one of the sponsors of the podcast soon. But they're making some cool gear for us for a squad. And, I was watching the one where they were looking for Sergeant Slaughter, or they were looking for Iron Sheik's. He's old and he can't travel, so they're looking for the Iron Sheik's, whatchamacallit, who called me? Oh, they're looking for the Iron Sheik's boot, which is interesting. It's like the boot of the Iron Sheik that he
that's
used.
right. He had the
Yeah, they're looking for those because they had a boot match against Sergeant Slaughter, and then I never knew, which was cool about this, I never knew the connection on whether Sergeant Slaughter was already a G.I. Joe, because I don't remember. I was like, was he a G.I. Joe, and then they used him as a WWF figure? But no, Sergeant Slaughter was like in the 80s and 70s even wrestling. And then they, after his contract ended with WWF, they tried to hire him back, but then, his body was taking a beating, so he took a contract from Mattel or whatever it was and became the first real life, like, G.I. Joe.
That's crazy. Did you see they're like doing the origins of G.I. Joe? Did you see those movies coming down the pipe?
Shit,
They're starting with Snake Eyes is the first one. And it's like super fast and furious, like just crazy action and completely over the top. But it looks like they're kind of doing like a Marvel version of it. But if it's good, how good is that going to be? Because I'm over Marvel. Like there's too much stuff.
Yeah. I haven't watched any of that.
It's like I'm not against it. I'm just, hey man, that's way too much of my time.
Yeah,
if they start into G.I. Joe, I'll invest in G.I. Joe. That was such a big part of my childhood.
Yeah, exactly, me too. I used to watch it every Saturday morning. I remember.
You remember going to like when you go shopping with your mom or whatever, and then they'd be like, just go to the toy section and let me be.
Yeah.
And you would just go there and you'd peel through all the toys, seeing if they had the fucking
different ones,
the new ones and.
I mean, I know
so many toys.
When you're a kid and you look at like your grandma's house looked huge, and then you go there and you're like, what the fuck? Like, this, how small is this? But when you would go to Toys R Us, like there was like, it felt like there were aisles of action figures.
They had, because remember they would have the section with all like the rubber wrestlers, and they had a whole section of like just WWF stuff, then WCW, then G.I. Joe. Dude, that was such a big deal to in that parking lot, walking in with your parents, knowing you were going to pick something up, or just going to look, but you knew how to talk your mom into it.
Yeah, my dad. I remember when I got my Holy Communion money. When I got my communion, I got like I got like $1,000, which was like a lot. Back then, a lot of people gave me money. And my mom said, okay, you can have a couple $100, like $300 or some shit. And you can do whatever you want with it. I was like, all right, cool. Well, I want to save 100, and then I want to take 200 to the toy store. She's like, okay, fire away if that's what you want. She's like, you worked hard, getting good grades in school. I went to the toy store and I bought a ton of shit. I don't know how much action figures were back in the day. I feel like they were like $5.95.
Yeah, they were under $10.
Yeah, it was like $6. And I bought a shitload. I bought like... and I think my mom chipped in money too, obviously. I think I got I remember buying X-Men guys. I remember I bought some WWF action figures. I was buying all types of stuff. But what's cool about that, and then you asked if you wanted a video game.
Yes, I was going to bring that up too.
It was like getting cigarettes. Like,
Dude.
now he's got to open up the.
But like they didn't have commercials, or I mean they had the commercials, but like I remember buying the Nintendo games and you had to go off of what was on the back.
Yeah.
And if they didn't, like, you read what the game was about and they had 3 pictures.
Yeah,
but I still remember going to Kitty City. That was the one with the kangaroo.
Yep.
Because that was past. It was still in Allentown, but it was down past further. And then I remember going there and I got Outrun, and that was like such a big deal for Sega. And I remember. The deal was that in the car, I had to do my spelling homework on the way over, and then on the way back, and then I could play the game. But dude, getting the Genesis games back in the day with the Madden 95, Outrun.
Yeah, how about my dad bought the first? So when he bought me Nintendo, I was maybe like 6 or something like that, or 8 years old.
It was such a big deal on the block.
It came with the power pad and the gun,
yeah.
And we didn't know it, and we just went there and got it. And then I remember another person bought me the power pad for Christmas, and that came with another system. So then we went from 0 things like Atari, like that was busted, no one gave a shit about it, to 2 Nintendos, one in the living room, one in the kitchen, and just like games and the power pad. Yeah. I just remember sitting in the kitchen in the morning, like trying to eat my cereal and play like Bubble Bobble and stuff. Like that shit was crazy. But what I was gonna say is what's crazy is they were at some dude's house selling them the and my friend John from Super BJJ, he told me that it's totally set up, but I mean whatever, it's set up, who cares? And the guy had the boot, and in his thing he had the rubber Sergeant Slaughter wrestling figure, and I had that too, and Sergeant Slaughter looked at it and goes, wow, you got this too? And I was like, hey, I got that. And he goes, you had to order for that. You had to send away for that. I was like, damn. And then all of a sudden it brought back insane memories of my dad filling it out and sending it in.
Yeah.
And then I don't remember what kind of box it came in, but think about that. I almost want to do that now, like somehow, like where I was thinking about this. I think when I watched that, I was like, man, we should do something where, like, you know, we go in our school, like we take everybody's address or email address and we send it to the people in the emails, and because a mailer costs too much, but we send email address, and if you print this out and send it to us like a barcode, we'll send you a free. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because, like, that was nuts, dude. I remember like, my dad filled it out, sending it in. He's like, hey, you want a free, because I didn't even know. He's like, you want a free Sergeant Slaughter? I'm like, hell yeah.
Cereal boxes had a lot of that growing up, because there was that whole time when it's so weird how everything is now, because it's so connected, and it's like the way video games are and everything's just kind of overstimulated. But I remember you would sit down and have a bowl of cereal, and you wouldn't be on your phone. You would be reading the back of the box of cereal.
Yeah.
So if they had a game or some dumb shit that you could figure out in 10 seconds, but what they did have is in the back, they had like those sweepstakes. Remember sweepstakes? Where like you would cut out the back of the box and send it into Captain
Dude,
Crunch?
We won a bunch of stuff. I got a bunch of free shit because my grandmother and my mom would always do it for me.
Yeah.
Because I knew kids that were like, oh,
But that
my
was
parents would never
back
send
in the
it
day when the moms and grandmas were in that coupon hustle.
Yeah.
Cutting out the coupons.
Yep. Yeah, cutting out coupons is looking for cool stuff. I mean, it's just such a cool thing. Waiting in the mail for stuff, like now that we do all this gear and I got shirts and hats and shit and boxing gloves showing up all the time. I don't even know, you know, I have like trap bars and shit sent to my house, like weightlifting equipment. The fucking guy's like, what are you doing? But with that, it's really cool because you know, you getting stuff in the mail is awesome.
Yeah.
Everyone loves getting shit in the mail. Like one of our students, Mark, he said to me sometimes he would get, you know, on the weekend he would get drunk one night and then just order a bunch of shit from BJJ sites and not remember he ordered it and then not check his account, you know, or he'd look at it and be like, I guess I ordered $150 worth of shit last night. And then he's like, and then 2 weeks go by and he goes, Merry Christmas, Mark. Just shit shows up. Oh, I guess I ordered that rash guard.
I've been
He's like,
wanting
I have to
this.
start drunk. I have to stop drunk buying jiu-jitsu rash guards. So there's that. But yeah, man, check out I watched some crazy ass one. I got to go back and watch it. The hardcore, there's a wrestling called Hardcore Wrestling, Deathmatch Wrestling or whatever. I didn't even know about that. Like he said it was too hardcore for ECW.
That's
They're
nuts.
like, the guys at ECW are like, these guys are going to get fucking hurt. You know? Think about that.
That's nuts.
Yeah, because like Tommy Dreamer's getting thrown off like a
Yeah.
fucking
Who
scaffolding.
just
and
passed
stuff.
away? New Jack?
Yeah, New Jack passed away. He was a douchebag. I mean, I respect him as a thing, but like after watching that thing, he was just a fucking asshole.
Yeah. It's
know what I
funny,
mean?
like watching those and then seeing who the people really are behind the character.
Well, I like when they change up. I watched Shawn Michaels. That was a good one.
yeah.
Yeah.
Aren't they doing a Stone Cold one?
Yeah, they did that already, but I don't know if it's
behind.
I don't know if it's out yet. I forget. I think I might have actually. You know what? I might have watched that one.
Yeah.
I watched most of it. But yeah, Shawn Michaels. I always thought he was. I fucking hated Shawn Michaels. When I
Yeah,
was
he
a kid.
threw
I was-
fucking Marty Jannetty through the window, man. I was Team
Yeah.
Marty.
Yeah, drop kick Marty
Marty
Jannetty.
Jannetty.
Dude, did you ever watch that one?
What?
What the Shawn Michaels
No,
documentary?
I haven't
Dude,
watched any of them. I'll start getting into them because that night I don't have like. There's sometimes I don't have shit to watch.
Bro, you'll stay up till 2 a.m. So make sure you got nothing to do.
What's it on?
A&E. So if
I
you,
could probably get that through Hulu.
yeah, exactly. It's on Hulu.
Yeah.
Dude, Shawn Michaels and Marty Jannetty were animals back in the day.
Dude, the Rockers.
He was out doing. He was doing like, you know, they were like when Shawn Michaels was too young. Dudes used to bring him beers out into the parking lot and stuff like that, and girls and stuff.
Yeah.
He was talking about like
The
him and
Heartbreak
Marty
Kid,
Jannetty were
brother.
just doing coke like crazy.
Of course
and
they
pills,
did.
Yeah. And then one of the best parts is like Vince McMahon suspended him for violating some steroid thing, and he was like, "What? What are you talking about?" You know, all the Kevin Nash, Razor Ramon,
all those guys.
Like, dude, I can imagine. Like, they talk about how much coke they were doing, and like
Razor
you know,
Ramon, that dude doesn't even look like himself.
No. No.
I watched
mean,
that DDP thing when they were trying to bring him back.
He's back though.
Yeah.
He's cool now though. I'm really happy for Razor Ramon because I really liked him.
Dude, he was when he came out and he was like the bad guy.
Yeah,
I was
exactly.
like, yo, and as a kid they were so larger than life. I was
Yeah.
like, this guy's bigger than a football player.
He is, though.
Yeah,
He
dude,
is
he's
fucking huge.
And
Yeah.
when he used to give him the fucking Razor's Edge.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was my go-to in
Dude,
the video games.
he Razor's edged Shawn Michaels off the fucking, on like the second row of the ladder match when they had that ladder match. They're like best friends doing coke in the back and just beating the shit out of each other.
I loved when they all went over and did the NWO and WCW. When
That was cool.
WCW took over, and for once WCW held the first place pole position on the WWF WCW. That was some of the greatest fucking wrestling.
Can't fuck with
dude.
Hulk Hogan, dude.
No, that guy, he went over there and they just, the whole gang vibe, and they just beat everybody up.
Spray
and everybody
painting.
loved it, so
Yeah.
it kept going where they'd
But,
spray
yeah,
paint everybody.
After a while, though, it got so bad
Yeah,
to where
yeah,
like
yeah.
everyone was in the NWO.
Yeah, it was too much.
dude,
Where
there's
like
too many
who
guys.
was the short guy? It was Dog something. I forget his fucking name.
Conan?
Yeah.
Yeah, the
He'd like come
Mexican
out
guy,
with
right?
somebody, and I'd be like, all right, I'm not listening to this guy on the mic unless Hogan's in the ring. Get out of here.
The original best ones though was when they first came out over there. Was crazy. Like, bro, I remember sitting there with my cousin, and I would record them. And the same thing, my grandmother's kitchen, going back and forth from Raw and WCW, being like, "What's happening?" Friends of mine would call, like kids from other schools would call me on the regular house phone. I pick it up, be like, "Dude, I'm seeing this."
Yeah, we would. I remember
crazy.
we were still in high school.
We knew it was fake too.
And we would
Yeah.
meet up. We would watch it over at my buddy Shookie's house. His mom didn't care we smoked cigarettes, so we'd hang out in Shookie's attic. And every week, my buddy Josh would pick everybody up, and we'd head over there. And I don't even think we were drinking. I think we were just like
I wasn't
hanging
drinking.
out. Yeah,
I just
hanging
wanted
out
to
watching
see.
wrestling.
I was just eating popcorn.
Then you'd run into the other people who watched wrestling in the hall, and you'd be like, "Yo, Stone Cold last night."
I'd be
like,
doing shit like this throughout the hall. And girls are like, "What is that? You guys are idiots."
Yeah. Girls definitely did not get it.
You guys are dumbasses.
I remember
Okay.
on Dress Down Dad rocked the Stone Cold shirt, and people would be like, "Dude."
Someone yelling at us? Oh, no, it's upstairs.
Yeah.
What? Yeah, dude. What was the other one? Marty Jannetty, dude. When NWO took over, remember do you ever see that MF Doom, where MF Doom remixes Razor Ramon when he's in the thing? He's like, "Are y'all here to see WCW?" But he does is like, "I heard y'all were here to see MF Doom," and it's like, it's the Razor Ramon thing, because that was like when he first came out, when he's like, "Are y'all here to see the NWO?" And everyone's like,
It was nuts. That shit was so awesome back in the day.
Yeah, I remember Hogan looked when he went to WCW and was wearing the all red and yellow. It looked fake to me. He didn't even look like a real guy. I'm like, what is this? And then when they redid it, was nuts, man. Even dude, the
black and white, and they'd have those promos they'd cut in black and white.
NWO versus
feuding with Goldberg, he had the lightning bolts going up his tights.
them versus D-Generation X.
Yeah.
That's what it was.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you're right though. When me and my cousin were both pissed because we used to act like we were the Rockers all the time. When he kicked Marty Jannetty in the face, I was like, "Fuck Shawn Michaels forever." Dude.
Yeah, that's
I
why
don't
I
care
did. That's why I never
what
liked
he
him.
does.
Yeah,
he's. I'm never. Every time the Undertaker fucking beat him, I was like, I don't care about the Undertaker at all. I never really gave a shit about him, but I'm just glad that he beat Shawn Michaels. And then when they screwed over Bret Hart, I was equally as furious.
Yeah, that was like a real thing.
Yeah, dude, they talked about it in that one. And I knew that Bret Hart punched him in the face, but they both, because Vince McMahon, he just plays it up. Knocked me out cold. Bret Hart hit him, and he went out.
Yeah. Like a soccer player.
Yeah, KO'd him. McMahon probably didn't even take that hard of a hit. He probably sold it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. He's a genius with all that shit.
Dude, he's fucking. Remember when he first started coming out versus Trump and everything like that?
Yeah.
And he took his shirt off, and everyone's like,
Yeah.
"How is he
They'd come
that
out, "No
jacked?"
chance. No chance
Wait,
in
you're like,
hell.
wait a minute. How is? But that's what I mean when Shawn Michaels was like, "I got busted for steroids." He's like, "What are you talking about?"
Well, that's how CM Punk took off. Is he started making his problems with the WWF public in the ring, and then that's actually why he blew up. Was McMahon and all them then took the storyline to what was really going on.
Yeah, it's smart. It's smart. It's just like it's really smart. They're They're doing that good. And in UFC, I like when they do that too. Like when sometimes
Yeah, it
when the
dabbles
guys
over.
like-
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like a little bit of pro wrestling, but the guys have to say like, hey man, if Dana White would give me a fucking opportunity, because it's the only way he's going to listen to you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
That's why I loved when, like, the whole thing with Connor throwing that fucking dolly at the bus. Everyone's like, dude, you're into this? I'm like, this is my childhood. I'm like, let's go.
See, people get mad, and I know like a lot of traditional martial arts guys, and like I know like everyone's like, how are you into John Jock and you're into respect and all that stuff, but you're cool with guys throwing shit through buses and people getting cut with glass. I'm like, baby, that's a fight game.
Yeah.
Listen, understand one thing: they're trying to make money, okay, and they also don't like each other.
Yeah, and that's a one and done. That'll go back in time where people, you know what I mean? Like how I look at like how Stone Cold ran through and did all that shit. Like you can't do what Connor did anymore because everyone just goes, oh, well, you're trying to be Connor. But like that's a time when it was still owned by the UFC and it was super fun. Remember, because the UFC had to get their pay-per-view nut. Now it's already paid for by ESPN, which is why it's rolling into a more thing.
Yeah.
But back then they needed shit to do that. So I mean, they used all that footage as a promo
had
for the
to.
Khabib fight.
Listen,
I loved it all. I loved I love it.
Guys were like, oh, I can't believe so disrespectful. Guys were fist fighting at the jiu-jitsu tournament down in Miami, and JM's response was, oh, why are you surprised that fights broke out at the fight? He's like, what, guys are fighting at the fights and you guys are mad? Like, it's fighting.
Yeah.
People want to fight. They're just, people work really fucking hard. And when it gets down to brass tacks, if you're losing or you lost or it's like whatever, guys are going to get fucking, hey, you say something, you don't like it, you just got to keep your head in a swivel. Fights are for, you could take kids to fights and stuff like that, but listen, it's a fight. I can't wait to show my kid into, not the disrespectful thing, but also to stand up for yourself.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, listen, we got to go down there and fist fight a bunch of guys from Fight Sports one day and then be going to a Brazilian steakhouse with them afterwards. Hey, we're going to have to do it. You know what I mean? It's part of the game. Like, that's how those guys would get pissed, hate each other, and then that's why, like, when they made Bret, but Bret Hart was back in WWF, and this should tell kids something. Like, people, yes, it's for money, but hey, Vince McMahon and these guys, a lot of them had to look within themselves and let bygones be bygones. It's not just WWF. It's like real people. He had to go in there with Shawn Michaels, screwing each other over, legacies, money, contracts, shake each other's hand and be cool. Years later, that's huge to me.
I want to watch that doc.
I don't mind getting in fights with people or fucking like, I hate that guy, fuck that guy. And then years later, you shake hands. I think that's pretty cool. You need rivals sometimes. You need people to be fired up and then be like, yeah, talking shit at him and hyping the guys up. It's nothing personal, And then, even if you do personal shit, like when you throw stuff or rip each other or whatever, and then you fight and then it's all good. It's part of the game. It's just part of the game. I thought that was really cool, though. Yeah, Bret the Hitman Hart had to go in there. Remember that shit? The Montreal screw job? That was crazy. But, yeah, that's why I like watching that shit, because it is real life. People are like, that's fake. But, yeah, it's fake, but, man, you're missing a lot of cool stuff. You're missing a lot of, like, stories and, like, the history behind it, And I think that's what's cool about wrestling. Now, I don't watch it at all. I have no idea who the guys are.
It's on, like, every channel, 5 different networks.
Yeah, but
I couldn't tell you anything about it.
I love the history of it. You
Yeah.
know? Same with, like, I equate, and that's why, like, people know that we like wrestling, and that's why, like, the finisher sub only and the finishers in general, that's why we do the Hall of Fame. Because it's like, it's not just about the matches and the money and all the stuff. It's about the fun, the aspect of the lore behind it. Like, remember fucking Pat Sabatini? He's in UFC. Remember he was in finishers too. Like, every guy that's out there, I'm like, oh yeah, remember him? He was in finishers 4. He did you know what I mean? So there's so many guys. Like, be like, well, what about this guy? Like Andrew Tackett. I'm like, he was in the Midwest finishers. Remember when people are like, oh shit, I forgot about that. And then now Basil, he won the knife, and now we're having more super fights. And then, let me talk about that real quick, and then I'll get going. But so we have on June 5th is going to be the next finishers, a bunch of super fights. And I know a lot of guys are trying to get in. I got over 150 messages again for 20 super fights, which is 40 people and 150 people. So imagine 70 people aren't getting a match. Some of them I just don't even respond. I can't. It's impossible. It's gotten out of control, which is a good thing. So eventually, Renee and the other guys take this over for me. But June 5th, super fights. Eventually, we're going to start crowning. Depends on how fast they make me a championship belt. But stuff we've been talking about. I'm going to get one belt with all the weight classes on it, men's and women's. Maybe I'll get a men's one and a women's one. And then we'll have them just in glass cases at the dojo. And we'll have another plaque where you get your name on it when you're the title holder from when you had it to lost it. Because I like this stuff and people really get into it.
Yeah,
so now
that's
I'm
what
gonna
makes it
start,
fun.
Yeah, now I'm going to start. And the thing is it's real, though. We're really fucking going jiu-jitsu, so it's whoever's the best, which is cool. So I want to crown champions at each weight class. I don't even care who's like, well, you should have had this guy. He won more. I don't care. I'm just going to, whatever divisions are, whoever's fighting on that night, that's who will crown the champion. Then you have 2 events to defend it, like coming up. So we even do it at like the Opens, whatever. The 145 belt is on the line tonight,
Yeah.
as John Battle takes on Andrew Franco from Bronx Jiu-Jitsu, and that's the main event of this one. And then we got Eric Naples. I want him, and maybe Jacob Norton too. Maybe I'll make that a title. I want to. I might just not have the real belt yet, and I kind of wanted to wait for the belt, but who knows? We'll see. And then afterwards, you take pictures with it, and then who knows if the guys get into it, we can even have them cut promos for
That's
it
what I'm
and
saying.
shit.
With doing that stuff, it allows storytelling, and it's
Yeah.
like, then you grab somebody like Quentin, and then you could start putting these, you could start telling the story of the battle before it begins, like
Yeah.
they do with the UFC, and it's
Exactly.
like that's why I love the UFC, the countdown and all that stuff.
Oh, yeah.
That's what WWF used to be way back in the day when
Exactly.
they would show Superfly Snuka standing over the cliff in Hawaii, which was probably California, and they
Yeah,
were
exactly.
like, but like,
was
you know what I mean?
definitely
Like
that, yeah.
they sold the idea of this is the guy from Honolulu, Hawaii, and he's fighting.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you know all
dude,
about him.
dude.
Yeah.
But that's what always drew me in, the story.
And that's why one of the reasons why I don't give a fuck about football, baseball, or any of those bullshit ass ball
Yeah,
stars,
that's true,
because
too. That's
back in
true.
the day, they used to do that kind of. You knew all about John Elway and all this stuff. Now it's like
Yeah.
a quick hit thing. They don't give a fuck. The guy's injured. He's gone. He's fucking.
But
he's against
they do their
yeah,
piece on Saturday about somebody who's sick.
political thing. It's like whatever, dude.
yeah.
We're out. We can't watch that shit. So
Yeah.
we'll just create our own, which is
It'd be,
what we always
that would
do.
be. I mean, just what you were saying about the belt. I mean, it just gets my mind going. I'm like, man, there's so much stuff you could do there, and you could do it all at the school.
Yeah, and the guy's like, hey, we have the big finishers thing, and then you just, like old WWF promos, you have,
Yeah.
someone like George or something dressed up in a pre-dressed up
Preet.
in a suit. You're like, so what do you think about this weekend? Let me tell you something, Preet.
Yeah,
I'm coming
yeah.
back to defend my 155-pound finishers title. Everyone
Yeah.
else is bums in the game. Like, and on Instagram, they're going to be posting up like,
Yep,
hey, this
cut it,
weekend,
cut it, and then
this
they're gonna-
weekend, defending the title, come down to finishers, and it's a league. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's exactly what we wanted. So we're going to start crowning champions. It's always what we wanted to do. We might even have like, dude, I'm going full WWE. I'm not going to, I got to shut the fuck up because people are going to just start stealing all my deals.
Yeah, they're not
You
going
know
to do
what I
it
mean?
the same
No,
way.
it'll be a shittier version of it, and that's fine. That's why, and that's my last thing I'll talk about real quick. So be yourself, guys. Really just be yourself. Sometimes, and I said this to my wife the other day, like, I'm like, oh man, do I look all right? You know what I mean? Like we're walking out the door, I'd say that to her sometimes, and she's like, you look fine. And I would think to myself, I can't wear that. And then I'd go to myself, you know what? I see people, what they're walking down the street with. Like people are wearing slippers to fucking grocery store, like funny, fuzzy bunny slippers. People are
Yeah.
wearing weed sweatpants to the store. A guy's dressed up in some type of weird suit. And it's like, you know what? I'll wear whatever I want, thank you, as long as you're comfortable with it. And that's how I feel like, it's even with the tattoos. Like sometimes like, you know what? Fuck it. It's my thing. It's me. And that's final. If you don't like it, whatever. So even when it comes down, and make that for everything, even when it comes down to your jiu-jitsu game, be yourself. Add the components that you need. Make sure you have the basics and you have everything down, but then be yourself. Don't try to be a crappier version of another guy who's already out there, because it's not going to work. In jiu-jitsu and in life, everybody has different abilities and everyone has different motivations and different body types and everything like that. You got to take what's useful, like Bruce Lee said, and discard the rest. Do what you want to do. Don't do it for other people, or because this guy's hot right now, I'm going to do what he's doing. Really try to be yourself. I know that's hard for a lot of people because they just want to know, like, well, what thing should I do? What thing should I read? What book should I read to get better? What video should I watch to get better? It's like there's no answer. And it's the same with jiu-jitsu. When you go on the mat and you ask someone, hey, Daniel Gracie, hey, John Jock, hey, Eddie Bravo, you've watched me roll. What do I got to do to get better? And you know what they say every single time? Mat time. That's it. There's no thing. It's just showing up every day and keeping an open mind. When you get too dead set on trying to be someone else or just copy what everybody else is doing, like you said, and that's what brought it up for me, is like you're just going to be a way shittier version. Look, when I see someone that has a great idea, I'll go, wow, that's a great fucking idea. Either I'm going to try to turn it into my own thing, but I'm not going to do exactly what they're doing, or I'll just respect where respect is due. You know, me and Sam working together on Emerald City. He's doing the whole Emerald City thing on Flow. We're going to do a Oh yeah, that's right. Last thing, qualifier for the Emerald City Invitational will be July 25th, 2 days after my son is supposedly going to be born. So I probably won't be there, but the guys will be running it. 145-pound tournament. Emerald City's throwing down in August in probably Philly, and it's for 10 grand. Right? That's no fucking chump change. You could buy like 2 LeBarons for that if you wanted to.
Convertible.
Yeah, I see 2 LeBarons.
Yeah.
For 10 G's, you can get each LeBaron. You probably get a LeBaron, older LeBaron for $4,500 a piece. You're looking at 9 G's, still have $1,000 to do whatever you want with.
Yeah, you hustle, you can get that on the low, work out a deal on 2 from a dealership, turn around, make yourself 20 grand.
Yeah, dude. And think about this. All you did was have to win the Emerald City Invitational, which is going to be hard. I'm not going to lie. 145 pounds, there's some hitters in there.
You going to put in the work to get those 2 LeBarons?
Exactly.
Let's see.
And look, here's how it works. Who knows who's going to be in the 145 qualifier that's going to be at Finishers MMA HQ? So if you win, you get $1,000 from the qualifier, and you get entered into the 145. This could change someone's career in jiu-jitsu and set them off, because they could be a guy who did our open easily. I've done the Finishers Open once or twice because we had 5 of them. And then I do the 1-4, and then I did a super fight. Hey, I won a super fight at the Finishers. That was dope. You know what I mean? Or you won a loss, whatever. And then so you went from open to super fight, from super fight to a qualifier, from qualifier to the big show. There you go. Boom, bam, boom. How do I get in the big show? Well, there you go. There you go. The path is laid for you, and we will lead our people back to work. That's Zach's Corner, guys. Peace.
Do you want to do sponsors?
Fuck yeah. We could.
Rubber Guard Assassins.
Yeah. So Rubber Guard Assassins, obviously, check them out on Instagram. They're sponsoring a whole bunch of, they're sponsoring the tournament. They sponsor everything. So check him out. He just had a kid not too long ago, so I'm going to be getting some tips from him. Shout out to Ted Park Armbar Club. He's the one who made that, Bret the Hitman Hart thing for us. So I actually ordered, I didn't want to forget this. People, I've ordered the Bret Hart shades. So they will be on the podcast when they show up from fucking Amazon. And it has the insignia on the side. So I know they're legit. They're coming from Bret Hart. They're coming from Saskatchewan or Saskatoon, where he's originally
Saskatoon.
from. Yeah, so he's sending me some glasses. I'm going to have those on. Ted is killing it. Armbar Club. Use the promo code ZAC10 if you want to buy any shirts from him. Rash guards. Sabrach Jewelry. I got to get, my wife thinks I should get a gold chain, just a small gold chain with a cross.
Get it.
Yeah, and I need to do that. My chest I got to get it a little bit hairier. My son's name is going to be Lorenzo. Come on, I'm going to get some beaters. I'm going to get some old white beater shirts. You can't call, wait a minute. I might have just got canceled there. You can't call them white beaters anymore. But that's what they're called. They're the white tank tops.
Yeah, I called it that the other day. It's what I refer to it.
Yeah, Jamie came in with one. I was like, yo, nice beater. And everyone's like, what are you talking about, guys? I'm like, what? Fucking kids. Anyways, did I miss anybody?
Nazo Ammo.
Oh, yeah, so thank you guys already who bought Nazo Ammo shirts. I'm going to get a flyer up, so if you just go on the site and order shit, more power to you, but if you buy one from me and I get your thing and I find out who it was, I'll even hook you up with a free Finishers Revolver shirt, which are live right now, shopfinishers.com. Check out shopfinishers.com too. We got a whole bunch of shit up there. So, but yeah, Nazo Ammo, make sure you click the link on the bio in this YouTube video or on the fucking iTunes or whatever else we have. So now let's can it. Did I miss anybody?
You're good, dude.
Nice. Shout out to Never Gain Studios, Mike Feuerbach, Big Uncle Zach Maslany. Peace.